What's up, ladies and germs? Welcome back to another edition of Mad Movie Review. I'm your host, Mad Dog. Today I'm talking about Thor. Everybody knows in 2011 we got a chance to see the first Thor movie, which is based on Marvel Comics. Was first developed, and the concept of the film was first thought of in 1991, but the project kind of left under development. You know, issues between it several years during that time. You know, there were rights picked up by various studios, and Marvel signed contracts, and you know, all this stuff goes into it. That's a long time to wait. Speaking of huge and extremely long periods of time, Thor was actually created in the 1960s. In 1962 was the first appearance of Thor in the Silver Age of comic books, back in the day of Journey into Mystery. That was number 83. Now, that wasn't really the beginning of Marvel, but it was called American Comic Books, and that was published by Marvel. It's been a huge wait to see him actually break into the spotlight of being a leading character in a live-action movie. The character first was portrayed back, honestly, in 1988. In a television movie, The Incredible Hulk Returns. Chris Hemsworth portrays the Thor, Odin's son, in the comic, in the cinematic universe Thor, the Avengers, Thor, Dark World, Avengers, Age of Ultron, and now Ragnarok, and he will be in the Infinity Wars, which is really cool, because I'm excited for that, aren't you? There is no Jane in this movie, in Thor Ragnarok. He does not have a girlfriend in that, so that's just how that kind of works. Not sure what happened. He says they broke up. The hammer gets destroyed, even though we're led to believe that it's the most powerful weapon in the world, because anybody who can wield it will be able, be worthy to rule Asgard, which gets destroyed anyway. So Ragnarok's just basically the end of the world of Asgard. In his dream, when he kind of gets that image from Scarlet Witch, he sees that his world gets destroyed by fire, which ends up happening, and he's pretty much the whole reason for it. You wouldn't want to believe that. Well, why would you want to be accused of destroying your own worlds, right? But he does it actually so that he could save the people, because Asgard is the people, not a place, right? So he still becomes the king of the Asgardians, even though they're on a spaceship now. So he finds out he's got a sister. She's an evil bitch. His stepbrother, Loki, is a deceitful prick. His dad actually lied to him about a lot of stuff, but he still loves his daddy. You know, who doesn't, right? And then, especially if your dad was Anthony Hopkins, who could not love Hannibal as their father, right? This Ragnarok movie is almost a Hulk / Thor movie, and kind of a buddy comedy action flick, which works out in a pretty good way, because throughout the years, you know, Thor, the god of thunder, who they keep calling him the Lord of Thunder for some weird reason. Him and the Hulk and him are both of pretty much the strongest Avengers, right? Now, it doesn't really say how old Thor is, if you think about it, because the depiction from the movie is different in the timeline from the comic book. So he's almost an immortal, right? So this is not the first time that Thor's got his ass kicked in a live action setting, or kind of been poked fun of, like Adventures in Babysitting, when they had some what do you call it? Some child's fantasy of what this mechanic, well, who he was. I don't know if you remember Adventures in Babysitting. Pretty awesome movie, older. And it's funny too, because everybody in Asgard is kind of, they all sound like, you know, like they might be from England or from Britain, but Chris Hemsworth is an Australian actor. Not the first time he's been played as somebody being with a huge you know, sense of humor and stuff like that. I mean, honestly, even the first Thor movie had a lot of comical relief in it, just because of it. He loses his eye in the movie, but do you know if he does it in the comic book? I bet you don't know. The creator Stan Lee appears in Ragnarok. He's the writer in the first Thor comic book, where he's introduced in the comic book. The other creators are Larry Limber and Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby's actually the one who drew Thor way back in the day. His comic book character actually looked a whole lot different than the movie depiction of him. He loses the wing helmet, and Thor Ragnarok's got a brand new one. Almost got the same thing, but not really looking like wings. You know, I guess they're trying to pull away from that, especially with Captain America already having wings on his head. I don't know. Whatever. The other thing is, he does become friends with Hulk, and they do team up to make a new team with Krog and you know, a handful of others, and Valkyrie. They call her Valkyrie, even though she is a Valkyrie. That's not her name. That's just what they call those people. And they're all female warriors. That awesome female warriors, and it's so cool how they kind of throw that into this Thor Ragnarok. There's so much more. You know, Thor's been around for a long damn time. Hit me up, djrabies@gmail.com. Let me know what you think, and like and subscribe to my page. Peace.